So basically, as you can see, what I'm doing right here is just kind of working my way in from the perimeter of the secondary wing, just really lightly, and adding a subtle little bit of dimension, like a little bit of roundness to the edge of the wings. And after I do this pass of medium gray, I'm just going to go back over basically, midway through the shading in the medium, and then wash that out just so I have just this little area in the center, basically. I'm working with that area right there, and just a little hint of negative skin in there, just the straightforward, just empty skin. And again, that'll just create a nice contrast between the straight black and the regular skin tone, and just give me a nice smooth transition and a nice little highlight in there, and create a nice heavy shadow effect from this main big wing, and a nice little light spot right there where the light source will be coming from and lighting up the wing. And I'm using a standard 11 mag right now on this particular session, because the majority of the skin and areas of the tattoo I'm filling in are all moderately spaced apart. I don't have anything too terribly huge to fill in, and I don't have any areas that are really super tight. So an 11 mag is a really good medium thickness or width of needle to use in this situation, because I get a good balance of kind of working the corner, working the angle of the needle when I need to get into the little slightly tighter areas, like up in here, the little corners and whatnot, the tips of the wings down in here. And once I get into the wider fields I'm shading out, the 11 mag has a relatively wide enough width where I can get some nice smooth shading in there, and filling in, blocking out those medium-sized areas with a nice smooth result. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and continue with the same technique I did on the opposite side on this wing as I did with this one, and balance that out. Now basically what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to transition from going into this nice smooth open skin into this wing, where I'm actually going to be bringing the shading out through the pre-existing tattoo, and just kind of trying to wash out these letters a little bit. But also, we have to keep in mind before I'm doing this, before I'm going in there, first thing being that a cover up with a black and gray tattoo is a little more difficult than using a color over a piece, because when you're doing color, you can actually fill in any area you're working in solid all the way through, and that's going to create an actual solid pass over any little negative skin that has any little residual or leftover little random bits of the pre-existing tattoo showing through. And when you're filling the color solid all the way through, it kind of hides a little more, and it just creates it's just an easier scenario for you to get rid of that altogether. So when you're doing a cover up like this, black and gray definitely is relatively more difficult to work with. It's not impossible, obviously. The good thing about this situation, this tattoo, is that the pre-existing tattoo is actually done in black and gray. And another good thing is he had a couple sessions of laser removal. The bad thing is during the laser removal, it did create a little bit of scar tissue. But it's not terrible, it's just a little bit of scar tissue in there. So basically what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to bring the shading out as far out as possible into the lettering without changing my formula, without changing my method of shading, because I want the whole tattoo to be uniform and look like it's all supposed to be there. You know, I want all the shading to match, be all nice and smooth and even, and I want it to look like it's supposed to look when it's done. You know, I don't want anyone to look at it and see, you know, I don't want any one particular area to stand out more so than another because the shading's heavier, because I had to work over lettering. So I want to keep all my shading, my formulas nice and balanced. And in order to do that, and cover up all the tattoo at the same time, I'm going to have to make these dominant, make these bigger wings a little busier. So what I'm going to do is, again, bring the shading out, and once I'm done with that, completely through the whole entire tattoo, like I said before, I'm actually going to go with a pin and draw some detail in here. I'm going to do a little bit of kind of mechanical vein looking work all throughout these wings, and also bring that down a little bit into these secondary wings right there, again, just so it matches a little bit. And that's going to give me an opportunity to kind of fill in any little areas where there's little residual spots of the pre-existing tattoo sticking out. And as you can see here, it's really not too busy. I don't really have any super crazy areas to kind of work with or try to fill in or hide, if you will. So again, what I'm going to do, go ahead and take care of the shading in here, and I'll explain to you exactly what I'm talking about once I get into the drawing part of this and what the best way to cover that up is. But again, I'm going to go ahead and start right here and work my way through this wing pretty much exactly the way I did this one. And you really kind of want to just not really pay too much attention to this tattoo right there, the one I'm trying to cover up. You want to just make your shading nice and smooth. And again, any little spots that don't get covered up properly with the shading, you're going to just go ahead and cover it up with little details you add in the wings later.